Women of Reddit, what's the first thing you think when noticing a man looking at your breasts? Am I at work? Then I get pissed. Don't let me ever catch you, we will not be friends. Am I anywhere else? Why do I care what men look at? I am not here for them. I don't think about men and their inner dialogue at all. What a waste of time. I am amazed they have time to think about other things than their fascination on the civil engineering of Rome or World War II or Ken Burns' Civil War or whatever esoteric conflict they think makes him seem smarter. If he is gross about it and I feel uncomfortable, I will tell him to stop being a perv and move on. It depends. I have 36 DDD and I hate them. Ever since I was growing them I have had people stare, grope them as a joke without consent in front of teachers who did nothing. So I just have that immediate horror creep thought in my head if I do notice. I try to hide them with chest binding but it hurts so much because I make it so tight. But I'm so scared to have them. I like them, my boyfriend loves them. I don't want to remove them, but I'm scared to keep them. If anyone can recommend good binders PLS let me know. I have Dolly Parton type boobs. They are far too big for my frame and stature. I constantly look like I'm going to fall over because they're so stupidly big. Everyone looks. Because they're freakish. I have a few responses. 1 they're real, 2 a picture will last longer but it's not as impressive, 3 yes they do knock thing over. Once I speak they realize the boobs are attached to a human, they look to my face and they awkward and weird, I'm ugly. I reckon God gave me boobs to distract from it. I normally don't really care as long as you're not being obviously perverted about it. Some just can't help to quickly glance but do it discreetly enough that we may not notice. Others do it for long enough where they'll actually apologize and maybe offer a decent compliment and apologize again. Then you have the perverts. I'll matter of fact say I have an equally attractive dick for them to stare at if they like the boobs so much. Some dudes are just trash. Ugh, followed by feeling really unclean like I'm an object on display. It doesn't matter what I wear even though I dress modestly, personal preference, guys still stare no matter what you wear and makes me feel gross in my own body. So do all the girls out there, dress however you want, some guys are just vile no matter how much you show. Just wear what makes you feel confident and comfortable. Mine have gotten pretty large since I had my daughter. Like from B to DD. Which is awesome because I finally got big boobies. I have now noticed many more wondering eyes. It's not just men either, women are just as curious. Honestly I don't mind as long as they aren't like, starring. I don't blame someone for looking at them when they're so freaking large and I can't even contain them. There's an older lady at my gym, late 40s or early 50s age, and she's had hers enhanced, and most likely some Botox. She's semi-attractive for her age, but she recently decided to start wearing white tank tops instead of their almost exclusive black tops. Well, the enhancements are well pierced. You can tell from at least 50 feet away. I'm pretty sure she wants everyone to stare, not fuss if it's a glance and then they redirect their eyes away. I'm aware it's pretty much an involuntary reaction for most guys and their conscious brain takes a moment to catch on, smiley face. If they continue to stare, that's intentional and unwelcome. It's fine if we're on mixing bodily fluids basis, but he's likely not going to get to that phase if he behaves like a creep. Fuck you looking at? FR though. I never wear low-cut stuff so I'm like, what you searching for, lol? I don't have big boobs either. I remember a man kept glancing at my chest once and I was like, what is even happening? If I was wearing something that had cleavage, I'd understand, honestly I do it too, it draws your eye. But staring would be oh no. They need to know that I have a hard time keeping eye contact sometimes. It's my anxiety. I automatically avert my eyes down. I am not aiming for their chest, but have had some women cover their chest with their arms. I wasn't looking at their chest, it depends. If a woman is wearing a low-cut top or something skin-tight, it'd be ridiculous to blame people for having eyes. If part of your boobs are visible, don't get upset if people look at something you have displayed for all to see. Shock. They are small. I have a sister who has this problem, and it was only after walking behind her and noticing all of the men stared at her chest, while they stared at my face. I am thrilled that this is rarely an issue for me. Makes me slightly awkward, but I tend to wear tops where I don't show cleavage as I don't want folks to be looking down there. It's awkward when it's at work because I kind of don't want anyone to looking at me that way there. I've noticed, when I'm caught by a woman staring at her breasts, she will generally look down immediately to make sure something isn't unbuttoned or amiss. This is especially true of women who aren't used to being noticed. I mean, If they can't help but look, then they can't help but look. As long as there's no touching without consent, they can look all they want. Same thing goes for when my ass is in bikini bottoms. I'm pretty easygoing. Kissing face happens all the time. One time there was just shock on a man's face when he saw my side profile, not even cleavage. I still laugh about it. The first thing I think is, doesn't anyone have self-control? Depends who is doing the looking. If it's a slimy creep with squinty eyes, then I feel sick, but if he's a nice looking guy, I'll drop something and bend over so he can get a look at my ass too. Winking face. I mean, we're all human here, so I understand it can happen, but it's extremely frustrating. For example, when you're in a meeting trying to express yourself and dudes just stare at your breasts. Depends. Do they look or do they stare? Staring is uncomfortable. So depending on my mood, I will say something or use my or my husband's hands to cover my boobs. Babies are a great cover too. If it is so long I realize I am creeped out, tbh. Normal short glances I don't even register. So when I register it, something is wrong. When my partner does it, it is different though. Smiley face. Honestly, I don't say it, but I think it's a compliment if they stare a little too long, since I never thought mine were anything special. Smiley face. Unless if they're ugly, then it's just gross. I don't care. Honestly. As long as he isn't being creepy, like touching himself or licking his lips. Lol. If I saw a guy's penis outline in his pants, I would look. Humans be humans. My nipples are hard 24/7. No particular reason why, they just are. I'm comfortable with my body, and as long as you stay in your lane, it does not impact me in the slightest. Given the content of your previous posts on that Reddit account, your manner comes across as rather disconcerting. I would suggest tempering it for a more balanced approach. Doesn't bother me. I have an obsession with looking at men's shoes, so they welcome to look at my baps. I mean, long as they don't go weird and start touching, totally fine. Just don't stare like a creep, and don't try to touch an ILB. Long as you look like you're around my age range, you look 40-80, then that's an issue. Not a woman, but a gay man. When I'm not wearing a shirt, women often look at my nipples and surroundings, and I couldn't care less. If it brightens their mood, why not? If a man is handsome and looks polite, I would think about it would be nice if he introduces himself to me. If it's in a weird way, then just try to avoid him. I've had full-on conversations with men while they were apparently having a conversation with my boobs, so I'm not bothered by a glance. I'm bi, I glance too. Smiley face. Nah man, I awkward. I've even caught my relatives staring at it, and it was rude to say the least, so I started wearing more baggy stuff. Lol. Women enjoy the attention. Look at majority of their selfies, their cleavage is displayed in a nonchalant manner. They know exactly what they are doing. If it is unintentional, then I'm fine if I saw them having a look for a second, but if it exceeds for a few more seconds, then I get a very creepy vibe. I assume they're looking at my tattoo located under my clavicle. Otherwise I don't really recall noticing or assuming someone looking at my tits. Nothing. I have boobs, men like boobs, I like men. Don't think anything of it. But if they take it further than that, we are gonna have a problem. I will literally pull up my shirt or button zip up any kind of outerwear. A glance is one thing. Staring is gross. I'm not being rude, they are. I mean, I get it. Just don't make it weird. I also look at other women's boobs from time to time. We all do. Just don't stare or some shit. I had an enlargement, so I noticed people looking a lot more than they used to. I find them interesting too, so don't really care too much. I'm a 40G. Kinda hard for both men and women not to notice limo, I'm used to it. The back pain on the other hand, won't ever be used to that. As a man, I try to avoid it. But I can't help reading everything that's written on t-shirts. And if that's a longer text, well, I feel like it's a sign of poor self-control if they do it to an extent length where they get caught, so personally not a fan. Honestly, I'd wonder if one of mine slipped out of place. I don't get noticed like that unless it's my spouse admiring the view. Well, I'm currently breastfeeding, so if it's more than a glance, I'd think he was a bit of a weirdo and keep an eye on him. I never notice when people are checking me out unless they're being super creepy and obvious, so I just think ew. I feel like a glance is somewhat natural and not always easy to control. As long as they don't keep staring like creeps. I get disgusted. I don't have big breasts, cuppy, but I don't use bras, so that can catch a lot of unwanted attention. Pretty annoyed because I don't like that kind of attention. I usually dress in outfits that don't define them. I'm used to it now, it doesn't really affect me as long as they aren't glaring at them for a prolonged time. If it's a quick glance and not by a man old enough to be my dad or something, I just take it as a compliment that he's not even subtle. So often it's blatant and in front of their wives, and that part pisses me off. I had a mastectomy and I've seen men look at my chest and I always wonder if they think I transitioned. I feel disgusted and semi-violated, but I'm more on the asexual side, so I don't like being sexualized. Nothing, it's the same as looking at my hands, they're there. Just don't be weird or rude about it. If I find him attractive, it amuses me. If I don't, then just ignore it. I don't really care then. Why are you looking at my sternum? I'm hella flat, so it really doesn't make sense to stare at it. If I could knock his eyeballs back into his skull, that it formed a boob on his skull at the back, I don't think of much. I also enjoy boobs lol, as long as nobody is being creepy, it's whatever. As long as they don't stare, it's okay. Women often take a look too, but they know not to stare. They're big, so I don't think anything of it anymore. Just don't touch me or say weird shit. TBH. In my experience, it means that going forward they're not going to take me seriously. I don't care as long as it's not creepy. A quick glance isn't offensive, but staring is. Meh, whatever. As long as they don't act weird or try to touch me, I don't give a shit. It's whatever. I look at their hands and other parts lol. It's just natural to look. Not a woman but me and my GF laugh about it, and she counts how many have stared. I never catch a man looking at them, but I don't really have much there anyway. This just makes me think of Greek gox. Truly representing all men in the chat. I don't really care, I look at boobs too. Bit of an odd question though lol. I don't do anything, it only becomes weird when they ask are they real? Crying face. They're massive, so may, they're in my eye line too. Just don't stare. Woman shrugging. Some women give you look, some squeeze them together with their biceps. I get really confused. I'm flat. I think there's something on my shirt.